So the first snow of each winter is always quite special for me. Growing up in a beach town, snow didn't happen, ever. Even at the age of 32, I have to say the snow is still kinda enchanting. Like, it's really always kind of fun the first day it snows. It's really kind of interesting to see the landscape that you look at pretty much 365 days of the year just kind of do a 180. You gotta see it in a whole new kind of perspective. And that's why I really like it. Kind of takes the surrounding area that you know very well and kind of turns it on its head. So on this day, I woke up quite early and I grabbed my Mamiya RB67. It had been a couple months since I had used it, and I thought this would be the perfect camera for the day. Since it's fully mechanical, I wouldn't have to really worry about any batteries dying within the cold weather. I just made a little march around the neighborhood. I just kind of wandered around, checked out a couple different little spots that I usually just kind of walk the dog on. But I was just kind of walking around my two cameras and just kind of figured out what I could find. These earlier photos aren't my favorite because there wasn't actually really any light. I was doing pretty much long exposures, but it was kind of like all this like kind of early morning glow under cloud cover. So everything is kind of still and not really that vibrant. The most interesting part about it all is that it's covered in snow. This image though I think is really fun. I kind of wish I got a little closer to it, but I didn't really want to walk onto someone's property in the early morning. I didn't think they'd be happy me kind of trespassing on their property, taking a picture of their snow-covered Mercedes. But I really did like this image. I thought it was a kind of cool composition. But yeah, I think if I got a little closer it would have been better. It was a pretty still morning. There wasn't really anybody out. Everybody kind of just decided to stay indoors. It was a little too cold to be out and playing in the snow for everyone except for pretty much me at this time. But I kind of worked my way back to the house because I knew I had a driveway to start shoveling off. So I kind of finished up the roll and worked my way back to the house. At this point, the sun was already starting to rise, and a lot of good light was actually coming into the neighborhood, so I wasn't really feeling finished with shooting photos for the day. So I grabbed my Nikon F2 and I loaded up some Portra 400, and I just decided to take a couple photos as I was just basically kind of shoveling the driveway, watching the light change on the neighborhood, occasionally stopping and just kind of moving around down the street to take a couple more photos, and also giving myself a break from shoveling about probably a metric ton of snow off the driveway. taking another walk with the Nikon, my mind was kind of turning and saying what I could do different with these snow photos. Like, it was kind of a beautiful day, and I was like, I had the whole day just to play. I had no responsibilities, so I was started to let my mind kind of think of why I could do something new. What could be different? At this point, I remembered I still have a leftover roll of a Rollei Infrared 400. My first video on this channel is about trichrome photography with infrared film, and it's pretty outdated already. I feel like I've gotten a lot better at what I'm doing right now, but I felt like maybe I should do some more infrared photos for the channel, just to kind of pay homage to that first video. And just basically, I like doing infrared trichromes. They kind of slow you down and make you think differently. I will say these photos are interesting, but not my best work. Having to handheld meter the scenes, I was getting a lot of reflective light off the snow, which was causing a lot of different issues when it came to metering my images. I was pretty sure I was kind of metering correctly, but apparently I was going a little too dark on some of my scenes, so not all of these came out perfect. Well, that's half the fun of experimenting. You fail. I only shot the one roll, so you only got these 4 images. Like, again, with trichrome photography, especially on medium format on 6x6, you only get 4 images at the end of the day. Let's go. Come on, let's go inside. Come on, chunky man. At this point, though, I remembered reading something about basically someone copying the aerochrome look, because when you do trichrome infrareds, it's not technically the aerochrome look. Apparently, when you want to replicate that style of photography, you're having to switch your filters up. Normal trichrome infrared photography that I do, I'm just replacing my red filter with an infrared filter. But from what I read, for the aerochrome look, you need to actually shoot with an infrared filter, then a red filter, and then the green filter. And you use the infrared in the red channel, the red in the green channel, and the green in the blue channel. It's kind of a unique look. It gives you a different style look sometimes, but I'm pretty sure, as this was my first time doing it, I didn't really do it correctly. And again, I brought out a roll of Rollei Infrared 400, but this one was in 35mm. I put it into my Olympus OM-1 because I didn't want to deal with a dying battery in the cold weather. And also all my filters fit the camera. So when I came to this batch of series, I decided to do something a little different, thinking about the aerochrome look, but also still thinking about infrared, trichromes, and also just trichromes in general. I decided to shoot 4 images per scene. The first image being with an infrared filter, the second with a red filter, the third with a green filter, and the fourth with the blue. My mindset on this whole thing was I could kind of do some experimentation. I could check out what this aerochrome possibly look like. I could also do my old and faithful trichrome infrared photo, and also I can see what a normal trichrome on the Rollei Infrared film looked like, and see if it actually comes out looking anything decent. It was fun to think about maybe getting a new kind of exposure out of these photos, but again, with the trichrome infrared process, it takes a long time, and now when you're adding in an extra step of shooting 4 different filters, that's 4 filters going on and off, and you're doing 4 different exposures with 4 different meterings. So it takes quite a bit of time. So doing trichrome photography in below freezing temperatures isn't maybe the best idea. Again, with the reflective light, the shivering of your body, and just the complication that goes into just basically doing trichrome photography of basically multiple different exposures with different settings, you're bound to probably have a hiccup or two. These images though, they're okay, they're fine. They're not my best work, but I think the experimentation paid off. The neat thing I found out in post was I created my own Lomo kind of look. I don't know if this looks more like Lomo purple or Lomo turquoise, but either way, it's not normal. As well, I still had some of the Rollei Infrared 400 in my Olympus when I went to Seattle last, and I decided to try to do the trichrome process again, but hopefully with better light, even though it was still a cloudy day because this is the Pacific Northwest. This set, I think you can tell a little bit more of the differences in the styles, and I think it's going to be something I'm going to play with more as soon as I get more sunny days, so keep an eye out on that in like 8 months. So sometimes in the Northwest it can snow for one day, sometimes it snows for a couple. And this was one of those weekends where it snowed for a little bit longer. At this point, I was down in Tacoma though with the second batch of snow, and I think these were my best photos. Again, I had my Nikon F2 with me. I had some Kodak Tri-X 400 loaded up into my camera. Tri-X 400 is slowly becoming my favorite film stock as of lately. I've really just been enjoying everything I get out of it, and these photos are no exception too. I just wish I had a full roll on me when I was shooting these photos and spent a little more time out and about in the town, because I really think these are probably the strongest photos from this snowy weekend. The snow can be really fun, and it's a great change of pace, as I said before. It really just kind of transforms the landscapes you are surrounded in, and it really does a lot of different things with the light. And it's just really fun to just be out there and enjoying the cold, brisk weather. I'm hoping for a few more snow days this season, as long as it doesn't turn into an ice storm. The last one was bad enough.